March 24, 1945, 25,000 feet above Germany. Captain Harold Brown levels his P-51 Mustang and scans the sky through frost-covered plexiglass. Below him, 80 B-17 Flying Fortresses lumber toward Berlin, each one carrying 10 men who know the statistics. In the past 9 months, 303 heavy bombers have been lost to enemy aircraft over this exact route. That's over 3,000 airmen, fathers, brothers, sons, who never came home. The bombers are late, 8 minutes behind schedule. Brown's wingman, Lieutenant Roscoe Brown, toggles his radio. "Colonel Davis, do we orbit or return to base?" That Negroes lacked the intelligence, character, and leadership to be in combat units. Davis keys his mic. "We orbit. Stay with the bombers." 59 P-51s painted with distinctive red tails begin a circular pattern deep in enemy territory. It's a decision that violates every instinct of self-preservation. Burning fuel, sitting ducks, but Davis doesn't flinch. Then the bombers appear on the horizon, and so does the Luftwaffe. Approximately 100 German fighters, 4-to-1 odds, the largest concentration of Messerschmitts the Red Tails have ever faced. Among them, the terrifying Me-262 jets, aircraft that can outrun anything in the American arsenal. The radio erupts. Bomber crews screaming coordinates. German fighters diving from 30,000 feet. The sky transforms into a ballet of tracer fire and burning aluminum. What the 3,000 bomber crewmen don't know as they watch red-tailed fighters climb to meet the German onslaught is that these pilots are executing a tactic so controversial, so against established doctrine, that commanding generals called it illegal. A tactic invented not in a Pentagon war room, but in the mind of a man who had no right to be there. Rewind to 1943. The Mediterranean Theater. 91. Each bomber costs $250,000, equivalent to $4.2 million today. But the human cost dwarfs the economic one. Give fighter pilots freedom to engage, to rack up kills, to break enemy formations before they reach the vulnerable bombers. But the Germans have learned to exploit it. They send 1 or 2 fighters to get the attention of escort pilots. The Americans, hungry for aerial victories that translate to promotions, medals, and ace status, give chase. The moment the escorts scatter, 30 more Messerschmitts drop from the clouds and tear into the unprotected bombers. It's a massacre. Bomber crews watch helplessly as their promised protection evaporates, as German formations slice through the screen and send fortresses spinning toward Earth, trailing smoke and bodies. There is no solution. Bombers are slow, fighter pilots need freedom to engage, and the enemy will always find gaps in the coverage. It's mathematics. Cold, brutal geometry. The stakes couldn't be higher. Each bombing raid brings the Allies closer to crippling Hitler's war machine, his factories, refineries, and transportation networks. But if bomber losses continue at this rate, the strategic bombing campaign will become unsustainable. The war will drag on. Millions more will die. In January 1944, a new fighter group arrives in Italy to begin bomber escort duty. The 332nd Fighter Group. For squadrons of P-47 Thunderbolts, soon to be upgraded to P-51 Mustangs with distinctive red tail markings. The white bomber crews take one look and request reassignment. These are the Tuskegee Airmen, America's first black fighter pilots. Trained at a segregated air base in Alabama, where even the blood supply was kept separate. Men who trained for 300 hours compared to 200 for white pilots, yet still had to prove they possessed the basic intelligence to fly a plane. The military establishment views them as an experiment likely to fail. A 1925 War Department study declared with scientific certainty that African Americans lacked the mental capacity for aerial combat. 18 years later, that assumption still governs policy. At first, the 332nd follows standard escort regulations. Maintain altitude. Stay within a broad protective radius. Engage only if enemy aircraft directly threaten the formation. The doctrine drafted in Washington, tested by other fighter groups, approved by generals. But in mission debriefs, the pattern emerges. Whenever escorts stray too far, German fighters slip through. The 332nd watches bombers they're supposed to protect spiral downward, wings shredded by cannon fire. Bomber crews continue requesting different escorts. They don't want the experiment. They want proven fighters. What no one knows is that one man, sitting in a ready room at Ramitelli Airfield, reviewing mission reports by lantern light, is about to throw out the entire playbook. Lieutenant Colonel Benjamin Oliver Davis Jr. He has precisely 0 credentials for revolutionary military thinking. Born in 1912, son of the Army's first black general, Davis grew up understanding that excellence wasn't optional. It was survival. When he entered West Point in 1932, he became the Academy's first black cadet in decades. On his 3rd day, upperclassmen held a special meeting, not to welcome him, to organize his destruction. This silent treatment began July 4, 1932. For 4 years, 1,461 days, not a single cadet spoke to him except when duty required. No roommate in the dormitory, no tent made in the field, no conversations at meals, no study partners, just silence, deliberate and crushing, designed to demoralize him into quitting. They called it the deep freeze. You don't belong here. Black men lack the character for military leadership. Leave now, and spare yourself the humiliation of inevitable failure. Davis graduated 35th in his class of 276 in 1936. Still alone, still silent, still standing. There were no black flying units, therefore no need for black pilots. Then Eleanor Roosevelt made a publicity flight with Chief Charles Alfred Anderson, a black pilot at Tuskegee Institute. The photograph appeared in newspapers nationwide. Public pressure mounted. In July 1941, the War Department authorized the Tuskegee experiment, military flight training for African Americans. Davis was 29 years old when he finally earned his wings. Ancient by fighter pilot standards, most of his students were barely 20. He had no combat experience, no tactical innovations to his name, no reason to challenge doctrine written by men who'd been flying since before he was born. He organized the 99th Pursuit Squadron in 1941, then took command of the 332nd Fighter Group in 1943. By early 1944, his unit was operational in Italy, flying bomber escorts alongside veteran white squadrons. And that's when Davis noticed something. In mission debriefs, bomber commanders praised other fighter groups for aggressive tactics, high kill ratios, and daring interceptions. But those same bombers kept getting shot down. The 56th Fighter Group would claim 15 enemy kills in a mission, and the bombers they escorted would lose 8 fortresses. What if everyone is wrong? Captains Lee Archer, Roscoe Brown, and others. Young men from Harlem, Chicago, and rural Alabama who grew up being told they'd never be pilots. We're changing tactics, Davis announces. The room goes quiet. Standard escort doctrine dictates that fighters must patrol aggressively, fly ahead, above, sweeping wide patterns to intercept enemy fighters before they reach the bombers. It's proven doctrine. It's in the manual. Every fighter group in the Mediterranean uses it. Davis spreads a map on the table. We stay with the bombers. All the way, no matter what. Captain Archer speaks first. Colonel, if we stay tight, we sacrifice altitude advantage. If German fighters dive from above, we'll be there to meet them, Davis interrupts. We'll give up kill opportunities and other pilot objects. If a German turns and runs, doctrine says we pursue. That's how you become an ace. Davis leans forward. Our job is not to be aces. Our job is to bring those bombers home. Sacrifice personal glory for mission success. Ignore the bait. Refuse to chase easy kills. Stay glued to the bombers even when German fighters deliberately try to draw them away. It's heresy. Fighter pilots are judged by kills. Promotions, medals, reputation, everything flows from aerial victories. Davis is asking them to watch enemy aircraft escape, to let Germans fly away unpunished, to accept that they'll never be aces. Worse, the tactic violates geometry. By staying close to slow-moving bombers, the faster P-51s would need to weave side to side constantly to avoid overtaking their charges. It's exhausting, fuel-intensive, and leaves fighters in vulnerable positions. The other groups will call us cowards, someone says quietly. Black pilots lack the courage for real fighting. The crude prototype of this tactic debuts in February 1944. Davis leads his pilots on a standard escort mission, but instead of patrolling wide, they fly directly above and beside the bomber formation, weaving, watching, refusing to break formation no matter how many German fighters appear, just beyond engagement range. That's not escorting. That's babysitting. This defensive posture violates fighter doctrine. It's practically illegal. Davis files his report without comment. The next day, he briefs the same tactic to his pilots. We stay with the bombers. March 1944. 15th Air Force Headquarters, Bari, Italy. The conference room erupts. You're teaching your pilots to be timid. A fighter group colonel slams his fist on the table. The Germans are using decoy tactics. Send one fighter to draw escorts away, then attack with the main force. Your solution is to not engage the first fighter. Davis stands before a room of white officers, most of whom outrank him in time, if not grade. The decoy tactic only works if we take the bait, sir. If we stay with the bombers. If you stay with the bombers, you surrender the initiative. Another colonel interrupts, his face flushed. Fighter doctrine since World War I has been offensive. You engage the enemy before they engage your charges. That's textbook. A general from Fighter Command leans back. Colonel Davis, your pilots have the lowest kill ratio in the theater. It's true. While other squadrons report 5, 7, 10 kills per mission, the 332nd average is 2 or 3. Our bombers also have the lowest loss ratio, sir. Davis replies evenly. Because you're black. Davis produces a folder. Inside are letters from bomber crews. Handwritten notes from pilots and navigators who flew missions escorted by the Red Tails. Request 332nd for next Berlin run. They stayed with us the whole way. Never saw our escort leave. Germans couldn't get through. First mission, I didn't lose a friend. The room goes silent. A bomber group commander stands. Colonel James, 2nd Bomb Group. Gentlemen, I've flown 47 missions. I've been escorted by 5 different fighter groups. He looks directly at Davis. I'll take the Red Tails every time. I don't care about their kill ratio. I care that my men come home. The mood shifts subtly. Not agreement, but acknowledgement. The fighter command general clears his throat. Colonel Davis, your tactics are unconventional. They don't align with established doctrine. But bomber losses in your sector have decreased measurably. He pauses, considering his next words carefully. Continue your methods. We'll evaluate after 3 months. It's not approval. It's tolerance. A provisional green light given more from desperation than confidence. As the meeting adjourns, the fighter colonel who criticized Davis approaches. His voice drops. You understand what you're doing? If your tactics fail, if bombers start going down on your watch, they won't blame fighter doctrine. They'll blame you. They'll say it proves the War Department study was right. Davis meets his eyes. They've been trying to prove that since 1925, sir. Let them try again. The doctrine that saved thousands of lives almost died in that conference room. Before we see how it changed the war, if you want more stories of mavericks who rewrote military history, hit subscribe. This channel exists because of viewers like you. Now, let's see what happened when Davis's forbidden tactic faced its ultimate test. The ultimate test. Meanwhile, word spreads through bomber squadrons. Crews start requesting the 332nd for dangerous missions. Berlin runs. Oil refineries deep in Germany. Targets where bomber losses typically exceed 20%. The Red Tails don't disappoint. In mission after mission, bombers return with minimal losses. The 332ND's kill numbers remain modest, but the metric that matters, bombers lost, plummets. By June 1944, bomber losses to enemy aircraft drop from 85 per month to single digits. Other factors contribute: Allied air superiority, improved aircraft, but analysts notice a pattern. Missions escorted by the 332nd show disproportionately better survival rates. 1,600 miles round trip. 6 fighter groups will participate. The 332nd will fly point position. Stay with the bombers. March 24, 1945. 0842 hours. Captains Lee Archer, Roscoe Brown, and 57 others who've trained their entire lives for a moment the nation said they'd never deserve. The bombers are late. We orbit. For 8 minutes, the Red Tails circle 150 miles south of Berlin, burning fuel they'll desperately need for the return journey. Davis's radio crackles with updates from other fighter groups, already engaging German interceptors further north. Then the bombers appear on the horizon. 80 B-17s carrying 800 men. And from 30,000 feet, approximately 100 German fighters dive. veteran Me-109s, the newer FW-190s, and the terrifying Me-262 jets that can outrun any Allied fighter. Send the first wave to draw off escorts, then swarm the exposed bombers. But Davis doesn't take the bait. Stay with the bombers, he orders. His pilots watch as German fighters scream past, deliberately exposing themselves, inviting pursuit. Every instinct demands chase. That's 3 kills right there. Easy meat. The red tails hold formation. The Germans wheel around, confused. The American escorts aren't pursuing. The second wave approaches, expecting undefended bombers. Instead, they find 59 P-51s waiting in perfect defensive position. Captain Roscoe Brown spots the Me-262s first. 3 of them, silver streaks moving at 540 miles per hour, 100 miles per hour faster than his Mustang. The jets have already shot down 5 bombers in previous missions. They're considered untouchable. Brown doesn't chase them head-on. Can't catch them anyway. Instead, he calculates their attack pattern, anticipates their turn. Instead of going directly after them, we went away from them and then turned into their blind spots, he later explains. When the Me-262 banks to line up a bomber, Brown is waiting. He pulls up into a 15-degree climb and fires 3 long bursts from 2,000 feet. Tracers walk across the jet's fuselage. Smoke. Fire. The Messerschmitt drops from the sky. Roscoe Brown has just become one of the first Allied pilots to shoot down a jet aircraft in combat. But he doesn't celebrate. Doesn't break formation to confirm the kill. He slides back into position, weaving above the bombers. The air battle rages for 20 minutes. German fighters attack from multiple directions. High, low, head-on passes at combined closing speeds of 600 miles per hour. The Red Tails refuse to break formation. They fight from defensive positions, always keeping the bombers in visual range. Captain Lee Archer downs 2 FW-190s in rapid succession. Lieutenant Charles Brantley gets another. The sky fills with smoke trails and falling aircraft, German and American both. Then the bombers reach the initial point. Time to turn for home. The return journey is when exhausted, fuel-depleted bombers are most vulnerable. German fighters know this. They're waiting. Close escort weaving directly with the bombers. Middle escort watching for diving attacks. High escort maintaining altitude advantage. It's a formation that requires absolute discipline and trust. One pilot breaking pattern could collapse the entire defense. Not a single red tail breaks formation. They stayed with us. Everyone else chases glory. These men stayed. At 1,647 hours, the formation crosses back into Allied airspace. Davis counts aircraft. 57 P-51s. 2 lost to ground fire while strafing transportation targets after the escort mission concluded. 0 lost in air combat. And the bombers? Every single one accounted for. Not one bomber lost to enemy aircraft. The longest bomber escort mission of World War II. 1,600 miles round trip. Against 100 German fighters including jets. 0 bombers lost. 3 Messerschmitt Me-262 jets destroyed. The most advanced fighters in the world, shot down by pilots who weren't supposed to have the intelligence or character for aerial combat. This mission earned the 332nd a Distinguished Unit Citation, the military's highest unit award. But the real story is what happened next. If you're not subscribed, do it now. Ring the bell. We're about to reveal how bomber crews reacted when they learned who saved them. The numbers tell the story. 1,578 combat missions flown. 179 bomber escort missions. Only 25 bombers lost under 332nd escort. 112 enemy aircraft destroyed in air combat. 150 more destroyed on the ground. By contrast, other fighter groups averaged 35 to 45 bombers lost per comparable number of escort missions. The 332 Indies loss ratio was 60% lower. Bomber crews did the math. They called the Red Tails our guardian angels, requested them by name for maximum danger missions. We knew the tails. Red Tails meant the bombers wouldn't be alone, meant someone would stay and fight. Your colored pilots were more disciplined. We couldn't pull them out of position. It was frustrating. The tactic Davis invented, stick with the bombers, became standard doctrine by 1945. Every fighter group in Europe adopted variations of it. What generals called illegal, In March 1944 became required reading at fighter command schools by war's end. The close Escort Doctrine saved 300 to 400 bombers and 3,000 to 4,000 airmen's lives, because one man refused to follow orders he knew were wrong. May 8, 1945, Germany surrenders. The Tuskegee Airmen return home to a segregated nation. Many can't vote in their home states, can't eat in the same restaurants as the white bomber crews they saved, can't stay in the same hotels as German prisoners of war. Davis is promoted to colonel, then sidelined to administrative roles. The Air Force doesn't know what to do with a black officer who outperformed white commanders. He never speaks publicly about West Point's silent treatment, never writes a memoir highlighting his tactical innovations. When reporters ask about his war record, he deflects credit to his pilots. In 1947, President Truman desegregates the military. Davis finally receives the opportunities his record warranted. He commands fighter wings in Korea, serves at the Pentagon, and in 1959 becomes the first African-American general in the U.S. Air Force. But he remains quiet about his World War II achievements. In 1998, at age 86, Davis attends a White House ceremony. President Clinton awards him a 4th star, promoting him to full general. Bomber pilots from 1945, now in their 70s, attend the ceremony. One veteran, Joseph Gomer, approaches Davis with tears streaming down his face. He extends his hand. "Sir, I flew B-17s. March 24, 1945, Berlin mission. You escorted us." Davis nods. "I remember that mission." Gomer's voice breaks. "Because of you, I came home, got married, had 3 kids, 7 grandchildren. 53 years of life I wouldn't have had." He squeezes Davis's hand. "Thank you for staying with us. It was our job." 992 pilots trained at Tuskegee. 450 deployed overseas. 150 died in service. 66 killed in combat. 32 prisoners of war. In 2007, President George W. Bush awarded the Congressional Gold Medal to the Tuskegee Airmen. Captain Lee Archer and Dr. Roscoe Brown accepted on behalf of their unit. "We didn't do it for glory. We did it because those bomber crews deserved to come home. And because we had something to prove." The stick with the bombers, doctrine Davis pioneered, still taught at Air Force fighter schools today. Close air support, force protection, never abandon your wingmen. Modern fighter tactics trace directly to lessons learned over Berlin in 1945. Benjamin O. Davis Jr. retired as a 4-star general in 1970. He died in 2002 at age 89. His funeral at Arlington National Cemetery drew thousands, including dozens of elderly white men, former bomber pilots, men who once requested different escorts because they didn't trust black pilots, men who came home because Davis refused to follow doctrine everyone else accepted as truth. Sometimes the most courageous act isn't charging into battle. It's standing still when everyone tells you to move. For years of silence at West Point taught Davis that survival means ignoring the crowd's opinion. That lesson saved 3,000 lives and changed military doctrine forever.